Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the League of Europe YouTube channel for round 10 of the Division 3 Championship. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Carmentalist. I'll be taking you through proceedings as always, and joining me in the commentary box today for the second time this season is self-proclaimed most underrated driver in Division 2. It is Iro Packer. Packer, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm having a pretty good afternoon. Not too excited for this race for myself, but I'm excited to get through my second time commentating here for League of Europe.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be hopefully another good race. We've had a lot of good races in Division 3 so far this season. We obviously come to Hungary for round 10 of the season. We are now officially past the halfway point in this championship, so this is now the start of the second half of the season. And obviously Hungary is obviously a completely different track to what we were at last time out at Britain. Britain's obviously very, very high speed, a lot of overtaking opportunities, but this time round, this track is really, really different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really quite different. I'd say the main overtaking spot is either into turn 1 or into turn 12 at the very, very beginning of the third sector. So only two main overtaking spots, and only with the one DRS down the pit straight.
Yeah, only the one DRS zone down the pit straight, as you say. Turn 2, a possible overtaking spot as well, but it's a very, very short straight with a short braking zone, so it's impossible unless you already try to move into turn 1 and you're still side by side going down the second straight. So that is one thing to look out for. This track, very, very low speed, known as Monaco without the barriers, so that's one thing to look out for. Qualifying going to be probably I'll probably say, I don't know if you agree with me on this one, Packer, but this might be the most important qualifying of the season so far.
Yeah, especially since we skipped Monaco, so this is probably going to be, as you said, the most important qualifying of the season, especially with only those two, maybe three overtaking spots.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one thing to look out for. This 18-minute qualifying session that we are moving into now is going to be vital for these drivers to try and get the best position they can. We've only got 14 drivers today, so a little bit lower on attendance than usual, but that does mean that there's obviously less people on the grid, more chance for people to pick up points. So hopefully we see everyone get to the finish today, and it's a nice clean race to start off the second half of the season. And to start off the second half of the season, we're going to talk you through the points standings at the moment. So going into round 10 of the championship, Yorno still leads the championship. He's led the championship pretty much the entirety of the way, apart from a two-race one in Azerbaijan in Canada where he didn't score that many points. He's on 119 points. He's 3 points clear of J. Cole. Those two are at the top of the championship. There is quite a big points difference though, back down to Old School in third place. He is 27 points off of J. Cole, sorry. He's 27 points off J. Cole and 30 points off the championship lead at the moment. Mercurial Teaser still runs in fourth place, having a string of DNS and DNSs. He was back on the podium last time out in Great Britain. TDB jumps from 9th to 5th in the championship in one fell swoop with his first win in his League of Europe career last time out at Silverstone. He is 5th ahead of Eduk in 6th, who really struggled last time out. B. Morgan, XLBree, YHYY and Harry Nawag round off the top 10 in the points. Total P's 1 point under that after picking up only his second race finish, but his second podium of the season. And that's one thing to look out for as well in this championship, is not only the battle for the championship lead, but the battle for 5th at the moment. It stretches really from TDB, I would say, all the way down to probably, I'd say, Miami, all the way down in 15th at the moment.
Yeah, Miami only taking part in 3 races this season, finishing in 6th place twice, coming up from Division 4. So yeah, he's had a pretty solid 3 races.
Yeah, it really has. His 3 races have gone well so far. He's currently sitting 15th in the championship on 19 points, 1 point behind Stumpy and 3 points behind Savage in the other Red Bull car, who's also joined the season a couple races beforehand, but he's had a couple DNSs, 1 DNF, but he's also had a 4th and a 5th place finish to his name. So both Red Bulls having moved into this division after a late start and have adapted themselves well. First person out onto the track today is going to be the Alfa Romeo driver of Harry Nawag. He's going to be on the track, and he's had, it's fair to say, since Harry Nawag's joined the season so far, his results have been a bit up and down, haven't they? He scored the podium, obviously, having, I believe it was in Azerbaijan, he scored a podium where he was one of only 2 drivers who made it throughout the race without having to make more than 1 stop. But other than that, Harry Nawag has kind of struggled really to find a decent pace so far, hasn't he?
Yeah, not having the best of seasons, besides that podium in Azerbaijan, just keeping it clean, not getting front wing damage, I do not believe. Yeah, but 5 points in Canada, 2 points in Austria, and then the last points finisher in Great Britain, as he is coming through turn 1 and onto the second DRS straight of the Hungaro ring and down into this downhill turn 3. It is kind of off camber. Very difficult braking zone. It's quite an easy traction though, even though it is quite crucial to the second half of this first sector. Now going up through turn 4, you want to get on that exit or the entry curve on the right hand side. Pretty nice. He could have used a little bit more apex, and keeping away from that death curve on the inside of turn 5. Now going through the chicane of turn 6 and 7, you also don't want to touch those biggest sausage curves on the inside, and then you can use the exit curve there on turn 7. Now through 8 and 9, you can get a lot of understeer and invalidate quite easily on the exit curve. Now through turns 10 and 11, that looked pretty nice. Purple middle sector, as he is the first person on track. Now through turn 12, the first corner of this very, very short third sector, looked pretty nice. Now through turn 13, this one is always a difficult corner, especially with that little ditch on the inside and traction. Now through the very, very weird, I'd say, last corner and onto the pitch straight to complete our first lap time, which is a 14.8. Let's see how the others get on throughout this 14 and a half minutes left.
Yeah, Savage crosses the line in the Red Bull. He goes immediately in front of Harry Noir on a 14.299. Immediately beaten by Brie on a 13.9, so we're already into the 13s on our first laps in qualifying. Good banker lap from Brie there. Chill already. He was saying in the Discord earlier on that this is a good opportunity for him to score some good points. His season, he got moved down obviously from Division 2 into Division 3. And his Division 3, while he scored some points, it hasn't really got off to the best start that he would have wanted. And he was looking for some good points today, and he's unfortunately crashed on his median lap in qualifying. So he will be starting P14 on the grid. We have had Tajonis join the lobby. He will be 15th on the grid as he's not allowed to take part in qualifying with the new rules. We have Miami's gone into second place in the other Red Bull. B Morgan now goes to the top of the timing sheets on a 13.8, just under a tenth of a second ahead of Brie. We've got one of the racing points to the line. That's J. Cole on a 15.5, but on the medium tyres. So obviously expect him to go a lot faster as the session goes on. And then I believe we've got JSD round in the final corner coming up to the line. Former Division 2 driver, looking to see what time he can do. He crosses the line and he only goes 8th with a 15.7, so it looks like he might have made a mistake on that lap, and he's going for another run this time round. Got one of the Williams around the last corner. That's the race winner last time out, TDB, coming up to the line on the medium tyres. He goes half a second quicker than J. Cole on the same set of tyres. So at the moment, B Morgan not the fastest, but TDB, that's a pretty representative lap on the medium tyres.
Yeah, TDB is going to start off his second half of the season pretty strong, especially having that win in Britain. He's going to try and use that momentum to propel himself even further up the championship order.
Let's wait and see if he can continue that momentum. Like you say, Peter's just gone into third in the AlphaTauri on a 13.9. So 3 people into the 13s at the moment. Look for pole today to be probably around a 13.5 is probably the fastest we might see in Division 3 today. Still waiting for Stumpy to leave the pits, and Old School is on a lap in the Renault at the moment. Let's see what he can do. Coming off the back of a few good results this week so far, he's had a good run of races in other different leagues so far. So see if he can build that momentum into League of Europe. He's currently third in the standings, a little ways off the top 2. But let's see what he can do as he crosses the line. He goes 4th on a 14 flat. Behind Brie, though, and I've noticed that a little bit of a pattern for Old School recently in a few rounds. I don't know if it's Old School dropping a little bit of pace or Brie really starting to improve, but Brie recently has upped his pace compared to his teammate.
I've only ever watched one other Division 3 race, was in Canada, and he was in front of Old School for most of that race and did end up finishing in front of him. And I believe he got a podium in Canada, so from what I've seen from him, Brie is pretty strong.
Yeah, Bree's really improved. He's had a really difficult start to the season, but he's managed to pick up points. He's one of these drivers, Bree, is where even if he does have a bad race, he's able to get the car to the finish of the race and pick up the scraps at the bottom end of the points. So making the best of a bad situation, really. He's very, very good at doing that, and that is why he is currently battling for that 5th place in the championship. So look out for him with his improved pace to see what he can do later on this season. Just waiting to see. We've got a few people coming out of the pit lane now for their out lap. Savage will be the first person to start their next run in qualifying. Stumpy's still yet to leave the pit lane. But J. Cole currently, he's improved on his medium time to a 15 flat, but that's on his second run on those tyres, and he still couldn't quite beat TDB with that lap time. And you all know our championship leader, only a 17.4, and that's on his second lap on the soft tyres. So he's obviously made a couple mistakes on both of his runs on that set of tyres. We've seen this a lot though from Yorno, is that he struggles at the start of qualifying and then puts in a solid top 5 performance by the end of the session. We'll ride with Savage as well. We'll ride on board with him as he will be the next person to start a lap in qualifying. He might encounter a little bit of traffic on this lap because a lot of people are coming out the pit lane as we speak. We've got one of the Hasses, the Alfa Romeo, Mercedes and Ferrari currently in the first sector. Make that both Alfa Romeos now back out onto the track. So that's Stumpy going out of the pit lane for his first time in this session. Was right on board with Savage then as he rounds the final corner, takes a nice wide line through 14 to try and straighten the car up as nice as he can for the pit straight, opens the DRS and now down the pit straight. Probably the highest speeds you're going to reach on this track down here towards turn 1. He's got a car coming out the pit lane, that's TDB coming out the pits going into turn 1. TDB shouldn't get in his way. Savage into the corner nicely, gets a little bit too much curb on the inside of turn 1 and that kind of over rotates the car a little bit. Doesn't get the cleanest of exits. Now down towards turn 2, downhill. Like Packer was saying, downhill braking zone, very easy to lock up on the inside. Through 3 it's a flat corner, you don't really think about it in qualifying. Coming up the hill now towards turn 4. Make sure you hit the curb nicely on the inside. He's 2/10 up on his personal best already, so he's found a good amount of pace in the first sector. Through turn 5, had to short shift a little bit midway through the corner, and now coming up to the turn 6 and 7 chicane. Keeps off the sausage curbs nicely. Little bit of wobbling and a little bit of a wobble on stability there midway through the chicane. Now through 8 and 9. Not picking up any understeer that time through, so it looked quite neat. Through 10, another corner you don't really think about. Gets on the curb on the entry a little bit through turn 11. Now into the final sector, he's 3.5 up. So Savage finding good pace on his second lap into turn 12. Little bit of a lock up, but gets away with it into 13. Down that little dip before the braking zone, so easy to lock up an inside wheel because of that dip. And now into the final corner, takes a wide entry to get a tighter line on the exit, straighten the car up nice and early. Coming up to the line, good improvements from Savage, and he's now into the 13s. He goes actually onto pole position. Great improvement from Savage. 4.5 found on his second run. It looks like the track is really ramping up.
Yeah, as you said, that Miami is a 10.5 up going through the third sector split. But I have to comment on Savage's lap. His lap was very, very tidy and very, very nice as his Red Bull teammate is coming through the last corner, taking a similar line to Savage. Miami's going to derate across the line. He's going to go P3 on a 13.9, about a 10.5, or no, half a tenth off his Red Bull teammate.
Yeah, good lap from Miami, building off the back of his best qualifying of the season so far, last time out at Silverstone as well. That was in the slightly damper conditions. He did struggle a little bit in the race because I think he edited his setup to make him better in qualifying, and it compromised him a little bit in the race conditions. But we'll wait and see if he can hold on to third for the rest of qualifying. Yorno behind him has just started lap. YYY's crossed the line. He's gone P7 in the Ferrari, so let's see if he can improve on that later in the session. The top 6, though, have really jumped away from the rest of the field. The top 6 all within about 2.5 tenths of each other, and then there's a massive 3/10 of a second gap back to YHY in 7th, and then another 4 tenths back to Harry Nawag in 8th. Stumpy has just gone right in that gap in between Old School and YHY. He goes P7 in the Alfa Romeo. We've got Brie coming around the final corner, I believe. Oh no, sorry, Brie's actually spun in the first sector off the lap. That's Old School coming around to start a lap.
YHY.
Yeah, YHY through then, so there's no contact between them, and YHY isn't on a lap by the looks of things, so that's not going to compromise him. We've got TDB coming around the final corner on his first lap on the soft tyres. What can do? He crosses on a 13.6. Wow, he found 1.4 seconds on this medium tyre lap. That's a brilliant lap time from TDB, and now he's the one to catch.
Yeah, the delta between the softs and the mediums is just over a second. So, yeah, he definitely has a little bit more time in that medium, in that medium lap time, but it doesn't matter anymore as he's on provisional pole with a low 16.6 or 13.6.
That's a brilliant time from TDB. You're no interest in he's crossed the line to start a lap on the medium tyres, so maybe he wants to try and get inside the top 10 on an alternate strategy. We'll have to wait and see. J. Cole on his first lap on the soft tyres. He's going to come up to line. Where does he go? He goes onto the front row alongside his medium starting teammate, the fellow driver. So TDB and J. Cole both did their first laps on the mediums, and now they're 1-2 at the moment. J. Cole, though, once again, just a little bit behind TDB, trying to get close to him. Can't quite do it at the moment, but J. Cole, second in the championship, second on the grid at the moment. Championship leader Yorno down in 13th, so this is advantage J. Cole at the moment. Brie obviously has spun on his lap, so he's not going to be improving. Old School to the line, he goes just ahead of his teammate on a 13.919. He goes 0.04 of a second slower than Miami and 0.02 of a second quicker than his teammate. It just goes to show that in qualifying around Hungary, it's so evenly matched.
Yeah, most definitely. As I'm going to switch my gap to leader, the top 10 is separated by just under 8 tenths. So yeah, most definitely very, very close as Yorno is coming through the second to last corner, having a little bit of oversteer on exit there, just a little bit too greedy on traction. Short shifting down to third and then back up to fourth for the turn in through the last corner, using a good amount of exit curve there. He's going to go 12th. On a 15.0 on the mediums, which is actually the time I think TDB did on his medium lap.
That is just, I think, a couple hundredths faster than TDB's time on the medium tyre, so that's a good lap from Yorno, but still, it's not put him inside the top 10, so at the moment, I don't really think that strategy is worth it for him. He's going to have to go, well, at least to get inside the top 10, at least 6/10 of a second faster on his medium tyres, and I don't see that happening unless he pulls off a stellar lap time, but we'll have to wait and see. He's going to probably come in and put a soft tyres on for the final run and try and get inside that top 5. B. Morgan started another lap in the Haas, so we'll ride with him. He was the early pace setter. He's dropped behind Savage, J. Cole and TDB after their second runs. B. Morgan doing his second run a little bit later than everyone else, so he comes through the first sector. How much can he improve by in the first sector? Obviously, track evolution around this track does seem to have a big advantage, and he's nearly a 10th up in the first sector, so a good start to the lap for B. Morgan. Now through the middle part of the lap, very, very fast on the way through turn 5. Doesn't use a lot of exit curb. That's nice and neat there. Now through the 6 and 7 chicane. Again, keeping away from the sausage curb nicely. Through turn 8. Uses a lot of curb on the inside line, and then through 9 as well. Picks up a little bit of mid-corner understeer. Puts him off the track, but he somehow gets away with that one. He's very lucky to get away with it. Through turn 11, again a little bit wide of the apex. And he's still 2/10 of a second up on his personal best. So this could go onto the front row and maybe provisional pole position. And there's still time in this lap. As you can see from on board, B. Morgan into the penultimate corner. Nice through there. Keeps it nice and tight to the apex. And now into the final corner. He takes a much tighter line than what the Red Bulls were doing through here. Shorter apex speed, slower apex speed, but a shorter distance to the line. And it's a 13.6. It goes just behind TDB. Good improvement though from B. Morgan.
Yeah, even with that understeer through turn 9, he still improved by almost a 10th and a half in the middle sector. So he definitely has time still in his lap and could maybe even put himself on provisional pole later in the session.
Let's wait and see. That would be B. Morgan's first pole position of the season if he can pull that one off. Savage is on another lap in the Red Bull. He's already gone out for his third run with still 4.5 minutes left to go in this session. And Savage has already aborted this lap, so he's come into the pit lane. He doesn't think he can improve on that. On this set of tyres, at least, is going to come in and put another set on. Miami, his Red Bull teammate, is on a lap as well, so let's see what he can do in the first sector. He's a 10th and a bit up, so he's already found time in the first sector, and that first sector time was better than B. Morgan. So here he goes through the middle part of the lap now. Again, another person not using a lot of apex curb coming out of exit curb. Sorry, get my words out. Exit curb coming out of turn 5. We've got another person that's just jumped up the field. I didn't quite see who that was, unless that was just a glitch on my end.
Jonas joining in.
That's Jonas, joining the lobby. Then he's into 15th in the McLaren. So that was my apologies. I thought someone had jumped up the field. Miami in the middle sector, only 100th of a second improvement on his personal best, but this still could put him on the second row of the grid. Let's see what his final sector is like. Can he improve in the final sector? Really, really nice and tight to the apex there through turn 13. That was brilliant through that corner. Looks like a strong final sector from Miami. Where can this lap time put him? Can it put him on the front row? Can he try and take provisional pole off of TDB? He comes up to the line. Another man in the 13.6s, but he just misses out on the front row. Goes P3.
Yeah, as you said, that JSD going on to a 7.87 and gonna move himself up into 5th place, the previous Division 2 driver. Looking pretty strong here in Hungary.
Yeah, looking very strong. Top 5 for him. A 13.7, even a 10th improvement though would put him right in 3rd place. So just to show how close the field is, Peter's on another lap in the AlphaTauri. Where can he go? Currently on the 13.9. He crosses the line. He goes pole the 13.4. What a lap from Peter. I thought TDB's time was... People were going to struggle to beat TDB's time, but Peter comes in and absolutely smashes it.
Yeah, I thought B. Morgan, if he got rid of that understeer through turn 9, he could maybe go on a provisional pole, but Peter is just going to blow that hope out of the water for B. Morgan unless he can pull off an absolute miracle here. So.
Yeah, people are going to have to find a lot of time on their final laps. That's a brilliant lap time from Peter. That 13.5 that I predicted for qualifying has just been beaten. Only just, but Peter's got onto that 13.5. Brilliant time from him. No one currently on a lap as we speak. I think Bree's actually on a lap. My apologies, in the Renault. He's just started one. He's coming through the first sector now. He hasn't improved on his first run as of yet, so let's see where he can go. Only a slight improvement in the first sector, but his first sector time is still pretty competitive. So it's maybe in the middle part of the lap where he's missing out and he's hit that curb on the inside of turn 5 and spun the car. So that means that Bree is going to have to go again on another lap. He's got to watch out for YHYY again. They're both caught out, but YHYY on an out lap and gets through nice and cleanly. So Bree's going to have to slow down, cool those tyres down and go for another run on this set of tyres if he wants to improve. He won't be able to make it into the pit lane and put a fresh set of tyres on. J. Cole now in the Racing Point is on a lap and he's slightly up in the first sector as well, but only by 12 thousandths of a second, so he hasn't been able to find that much time so far. Let's see in the middle sector what he can do through this part. He's got a lot of traffic in front of him. He's got one of the Red Bulls and one of the Williams. That's TDB, I believe, directly in front of him. And then that's one of the Red Bulls going completely off the track there to move out the way. That was Savage completely moving off the track, and he might have just got in one of the Alfa Romeo's way, but both Alfa Romeos are on warm-up laps themselves, so it hasn't really compromised them too much. TDB might get in J Core's way here, but J Core gets through nicely. TDB moves out the way. Very respectful there from TDB as well. Now coming through the final sector, can J Cole improve on 5th position? He doesn't have to improve by a lot to get on that front row, but let's see what he's found through this lap. Comes out of the final corner, he derates towards the line, and it is a 13.5. Just misses out on pole position by 13 thousandths of a second with a brilliant final sector in the end from J Cole, but once again he's just going to miss out on pole position.
Yeah, he did look to go a little bit deep into turn 12, maybe getting distracted by the Williams of TDB. So he probably has a little bit more time in that lap. I do believe we have Yorno now on the soft tires for a fast lap going through turn 5. Bree coming through the back end of this middle sector through turn 8 and 9. Not picking up any mid-corner understeer there, which is good from the man in the Renault. Jonas is going to retire. As we expected, having a little bit of a slide there. He's 3.5 tenths up. Bree down to P9 on a 13.9. Purple middle sector from the man in the Renault up to 6th gear. Now all the way down to 2nd gear to get that turn in for the second to last corner, which is turn 13. Now back up to 5th gear, down to 4th. Going to 3rd just to get that turn in as well as turn 13. And he's going to run out of fuel to the end of the lap.
Wow, he ran out of fuel right to the line. He still managed to improve on his time and go 7th, but that could have been so much better for Bree. That could have been a spot on the second row of the grid, maybe with the amount of time he was finding. Yorno crossed the line, meanwhile, and only managed 10th on the grid. So Yorno, having done that truncated session where he only really got one competitive lap in on the soft tyres, means that he's not going to get really that representative time that he can aim at, and it's not good enough for Yorno. 10th on the grid, that's probably the lowest he's started so far this season in a long while. B. Morgan crosses the line, he hasn't improved at all. J. Cole's retired, TDB didn't improve. No one's really improving on their final runs. The only man out there on the track at the moment now is Old School and Stumpy. Old School's completely lost his front wing. So Stumpy coming around the final corner, and he's only half a tenth up on his personal best. He comes out of the final corner and he doesn't improve on 12th place. He stays 12th on a 14.1. In the end, though, it was a fairly anticlimactic end to the session. I was expecting the likes of TDB and all that to really improve on their times, and it seemed that everyone apart from Peter and J. Cole messed up their final runs.
As you said, you did see Old School without a front wing, but there was a lot of track evolution through the mid part of that qualifying session, and then it just kind of all went away, and nobody could improve, it seemed.
Yeah, really bizarre end to the session there. But Peter on pole position for the first time this season. Great lap from him. 13 thousandths of a second ahead of our second place man in the championship, J. Cole. TDB last week's race winner in 3rd on the grid ahead of B. Morgan. Miami 5th ahead of JSD, Bree, Savage, Old School, Yorno rounds off the top 10. Harry Nowak and Stumpy, the two Alfa Romeos, the first people outside the top 10 in 11th and 12th. Why the slowest of the people that set lap times in the end in 13th on a 14.4. Chill retired before he even got a lap in the session, and Sir Jonas joined the session late, so he couldn't take part in qualifying. But in the end, really good lap from Peter and a surprise pole position.
Yeah, most definitely. Peter down in 22nd in the championship on 1 point at Hungary. Pole position is probably the best place to start. And if you can get a good start, you could be on for really good points.
Yeah, you really could. Let's see if Peter can hold on to that lead down into turn 1. Hungary actually has a pretty long run down into turn 1 for a track you can't overtake at. The turn 1 lap one's probably the best opportunity for people to make overtakes. It's a very deep braking zone and a long run down to the corner, so that's a good opportunity for people to try and make places early on in this race to see if Peter can hold on to it. Peter, if he does end up going on to win this race, 25 points added obviously to the very few points he has already in this championship. He obviously only has 1. That will put him on 26. That would jump him from 22nd to, I believe, 12th in the championship. That just goes to show how close it is in that second half of the field.
Yeah, I think we have to mention something also. Yorno down in P10. He's going to be the last person on starting on those soft tires that were used in qualifying, so he's going to be a real disadvantage to all the guys behind him, probably on the alternate strategy.
Yeah, that is one thing to look out for. Yeah, like you say, good spot is that Yorno is going to be the last man on the soft tyres. So he's going to be the first person at mercy of those running on different strategies. So let's see what people are running. So nobody outside the top 10 is starting on the soft tyres, as you would expect here at Hungary. The soft tyres probably only last about 7 or 8 laps. It's probably about lap 4 by the time you'll see that the soft tyres lose a lot of their pace. It's very easy for them to overheat here. So Harry Nawag and Stumpy in the Alfa Romeos will be on the medium tyres. YHYY has gone for the hard compound tyres in the Ferrari, so he's looking to go very long in this first stint. Chill has gone for the medium tyres in the Racing Point, and Tejonis back of the field, he's gone for the hard tyres as well. So it looks like Harry Nawag, Stumpy and Chill were going for the medium hard strategy, but would you expect YHYY and Tejonis to go for the hard soft strategy in this one?
I'm sure it's, you could probably do it. I haven't done enough practice to actually try it, so I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I'm not too sure myself either. I think you can do a soft hard strategy around here as well. So I think if you get the soft tyres to about lap 8, you can take the hards to the end of the race, but they do drop off in pace quite rapidly towards the end. So we'll have to wait and see whether the hard tyres can hold up long enough for them to warrant putting soft tyres on. Obviously, the soft tyres they do put on won't have done qualifying, so they will have some sort of lap advantage, maybe a couple laps in them, so they can do maybe a pit stop on lap 25 and put the soft tyres on. And we know that at Hungary, undercuts and fresh tyres here have a massive pace advantage, so that's one thing to look out for in this one. Let's see what the pace advantage is of those drivers on the alternate strategy. Before we line up though on the grid, Packer, I'm going to ask you for a top 3. Who do you think is going to take the race win today?
For race win, I'm going to go with J. Cole. And then for the last few stops on the podium, I'm going to say B. Morgan has somewhat of comeback drive from P4, and then TDB capitalizes on his momentum from Britain and will finish where he starts in 3rd place.
See, I agree with you definitely on the top 2 with J. Cole and B. Morgan. I'm going to go and put Miami on the podium. I think he might be able to get his first podium of the season. He's showing pretty decent pace, and obviously the front of the field very, very close in qualifying. So it looks like they're going to be very, very close on race pace as well. We'll have to wait and see. But last person lining up into the grid slot, I think we're just waiting for YHYY to round the final corner. But he is now into his grid slot. So here we go then for 35 laps around the Budapest track. Here we go then for the 10th round of the season, the start of the second half. Who's going to get the best start off the grid? The lights are out very, very quickly, and Peter looks like he's got an brilliant start from the pole position slot. He's away and gone at the front of the field. J. Cole didn't react very quickly, and he's already been swamped by TDB and B. Morgan down into turn 1. Peter away and gone out front. Brilliant start from him. TDB round the outside of B. Morgan. He's going to get into 2nd place. J. Cole slow to react to the lights. He's dropped down to 4th place. Miami side by side in the background with JSD for 5th place. JSD has had a good start in the Mercedes, trying to work his way around the outside, but now Savage has made his way down the inside, and that'll be the outside for turn 3. Can he pull that one off? He can. JSD has to back off, and he's going to lose the place to Yorno in the process as well. So JSD caught out. We got Harry looking down the inside of JSD as well. JSD caught out on the apex of turn 3, had to slow down, and it's cost him a couple places. Peter, though, with a brilliant start, reacted brilliantly to the lights going out, and is away and gone nearly a second clear already from TDB, B. Morgan, J. Cole. Prime opportunity here for him to really pull away in the championship standings, and he loses 2 places off the start, and Yorno is up 3 places already.
Yeah, I think J. Cole may have given Peter Sturt just a little bit of justice. J. Cole seemed to not move off his grid slot, and maybe having a little bit too much wheel spin, maybe warming up the tires just a little bit too much and overheating them on the formation lap.
Yeah, that is definitely one thing you can fall foul of here. Yorno trying to get moved on, and Savage already is looking very racy on these soft compound tyres. Harry Nawag has made his way into the top 10 on those mediums. Both Renaults have had poor starts. They've dropped to 10th and 11th. Old School has dropped, is now in 10th place, Bree down to 11th. But Old School trying to work his way back past Harry Nawag down into turn 1. He's using a lot of ERS, but Harry Nawag super late on the brakes into turn 1. Takes a bit of a wider line through the corner, but he'll have the inside line for turn 2. Old School trying to work his way around the outside. He can pull a move around the outside of turn 2 off if you've got the momentum. He's got the grip. Harry Nawag is going to try and force him out wide, but Old School clean around the outside of turn 2, has the inside line for turn 3, but spins the car through turn 3, loses it completely on the exit of the corner, and has hit the wall and lost his front wheel. That is his race over and done with. Old School 3rd in the championship after a poor start, is out of the race. Doesn't look like we're going to get any sort of safety car for that one. So Jonas has come into the pit lane early, having lost his front, losing his front wing at the start of this race. Old School has left the session after that contact with the wall. We have got a virtual safety car now for that crash. But Old School, what a good opportunity to try and close back in the championship, and it's all just means nothing for him now. He's now out of the race with no points.
Yeah, I think he just had the overtake button on there and just unsettled his car, maybe giving a little bit too much power to those rear tires, and then spinning him into the barrier and making him lose his front tire. He's not going to be able go on any longer on this Saturday evening.
That is such a shame for Old School. Hopefully he can bounce back next time out at Belgium. DRS is now enabled. We're on to lap 3. Peter well clear of DRS range for TDB. He's safe at the moment. B. Morgan, though, looking very racy. Looks to the inside of TDB for turn 1. Can't quite get to the inside line, though, for the corner. So TDB shuts the door firmly in his face and holds on to second place for the time being. But it does look like the Williams man is starting to have a little bit of queue of cars forming behind Harry Nawag, I think. Yeah, Harry Nawag, he's gone off the road somewhere. I think he might have gone off the road at turn 1 because Sletbury and Chill both through. Chill's now up into the top 10 on those medium tyres. He's the lead person on the alternate strategy now, having started this race from 14th on the grid, so it's going well for him at the moment. He's on the back of Bree, looking to try and get past him for 9th place. Everyone's a little bit wide there out of turn 4, so that's definitely going to be a warning to his name. So I have to wait and see if that one as well. This track, it's very easy to pick up penalties around Budapest, and that could make a massive difference at the end of this one. Peter continues to lead, but we're now going to be entering that phase of the race, aren't we, where that front left tyre is really going to start overheating.
Yeah, especially TDB, who's going to be trying to get into the DRS of Peter, as Peter picks up a time penalty on the exit of turn 11, which is very, very easy to do. Towards the end of that middle sector, pretty fast corner, and it kind of tightens up on exit. So Peter's going to have to create an even bigger gap to TDB in second.
Yeah, he has, and that's how race leader already with a penalty in this one then, so he's fallen foul of that. Peter sets the fastest lap of the race, but that's immediately beaten by TDB by 0.3 of a second, so TDB, maybe it's coming back to him, maybe Peter's starting to overheat his tyres a little bit. TDB maybe a bit nicer, a bit kinder to his front tyres, and that's allowing him to pick up the pace in the second half of this soft stint. He's back within DRS range now of Peter for the race lead. B. Morgan runs third. J. Cole's starting to lose a little bit of pace here. He's dropped back from B. Morgan ever so slightly, and he's falling into the clutches of Miami, so that qualifying pace from J. Cole maybe not quite highlighting his true form around here.
Yeah, J. Cole probably running a little bit more of a quality setup than a race setup, as we mentioned earlier in qualifying. That is very, very difficult to overtake here. So maybe just looking for some straight line speed, as he always does.
Yeah, J. Cole, very famous for that. I know that when we've raced against him before in the past, he's very, very famous for running low wings to try and be at the front of the DRS queue, but he needed to be into the lead in turn 1 for that strategy to work, and it's not quite worked out for him so far. He's dropped out of DRS range of B. Morgan. TDB, though, now really hounding the back of Peter, so Peter seemingly struggling with that front left tyre. Miami is kind of swarming a little bit all over the back of J. Cole at the moment. There's a bit of a gap back to Savage now, who has Yorno right tucked up against his gearbox. Yorno trying to work his way through very, very quickly after that poor qualifying. He's now right on the back of the Red Bull driver, looking to the inside for the last corner, so he might get a good run out of here. He's going to be definitely close enough. What a brilliant run coming through the final corner from Yorno. He's going to have a look to the inside, is he? Savage is going to drive all the way to the pit wall. Very Schumacher and Barrichello-esque there, as he gives him enough room on the outside line. Yorno's going to try and drive his way around the outside of turn 1, but he's going to be on the curb on the exit. That will affect his traction, but it has the inside line for turn 2 now. Can he get down the inside line? Can Savage hold the line into the corner? There's a bit of contact there. Savage turned in a little bit too early. Yorno was still down the inside. There's a bit of contact. They somehow get away with it with no real damage, and Yorno up into 6th place. Forceful move, forceful and aggressive, but I think fair from Yorno.
Yeah, as JSCD behind them, getting a little bit distracted from the battle of the McLaren and the Red Bull, picking up a penalty, as well as Chill, who is behind the Renault of Brie. Chill, the first person on the medium tires. Yeah, I think that was a little bit later. Yeah, it was kind of a desperate move from Yorno. Yorno trying to make up positions on his championship rival, J. Cole, right now. And as we said, as we're going to mention very many times through the course of this race, it's very, very difficult to overtake. So Yorno trying to cut his way through the field as Harry Noirg down in P11 picks up his first time penalty.
Yeah, we're already 5 laps into this race, and over, I would say, about at least half the field have a penalty in this one already, so that might play big problems at the end of this race. Peter's already into the pit lane. We're at the end of lap 5. That, I think, for the soft hard strategy, I think it's too early, so I have to wait and see what tyres he goes onto. Does he go onto the hards? He goes onto the mediums. So Peter's committing to a 2-stop here, so he's going different. He doesn't think that the 1-stop strategy suits him, at least, or is going to be fast enough, so he's gone for the alternate strategy. He's going to come out in a lot of clean air, so what's vital for Peter's race now is that he needs to get a move on and really start to put some fast laps in on these medium tyres to make this strategy work.
Yeah, he definitely can. Those mediums are very, very quick and very consistent. So he should be able to cruise up to the back of YHYY and Stumpy down on 11th and 12th. Savage is out.
It's coming out of turn 4. It looks like he's just dropped the car on his own coming out turn 4, hit the wall big time, and he's out of the race. That second driver in this race that's fallen foul of maybe getting too early on the power, coming out of a corner. Savage into the wall and out of the race. What was at that point in the race 6th place for the Red Bull driver. Would have been another good points haul for him, but he's out of the race, unfortunately. No safety car brought out for that one, so we continue as we were. But another driver falling foul of putting the power on too early coming out of a corner.
Yeah, turn 4, very, very difficult to get right, especially if you touch that inside curb just not right. You will spin into the wall. I think he did lose either a front right or a rear left tire there. Maybe a little bit of a graphic glitch for me, as we do have 3 people into the pit. We have J. Cole, Miami, and
Bree, I believe,
yeah, Bree. So those 3, I think lap 7 is probably the right lap to pit for these guys who started on the soft tires. Lap 8, you could get undercut from these guys who have just pitted onto the hards. But I do have to make a comment on the soft hard strategy. You can pit on lap 1 and make those hards go to the end if there was a safety car, which there was not, thankfully.
Yeah, so they have to wait and see if these guys can pull this off on their hard compound tyres. They're going to have to take these tyres at least 28 laps into this race. That's a long distance for them to do. We'll have to wait and see how long the other soft runners stay out on the track and whether they think that they have to go a bit longer to make these hard tyres work. Jacob then comes out 4.1 seconds behind Peter. Miami and Bree, the other 2 that pitted. The Miami was really starting to get hustled by Yorno as well. So Yorno working his way through the pack nicely. Who says you can't overtake at Hungary? Yorno's been able to do it very easily so far. He's got JSD directly behind him as well, so whilst TDB and B Morgan are very, very close to each other at the front of the field, Yorno's starting to close in on the pair in front of him and dragging JSD with him. And you know what? Dragging Chill with him as well. Chill's directly on the back of this queue, so if Yorno is going to stay out a little bit longer, which I can eat my words actually, because I think he's just dived into the pit lane. He has top 3 all into the pit lane, then TDB, B Morgan and Yorno all into the pits, as is JSD as well. Yeah, so the top 4 all in. That puts QVR Chill into the lead of the race, and let's see what he can do on these medium tyres. It's QVR Chill from Harry Noir, the 2 people on the alternate strategy who now lead the race.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what these guys can do in clean air, not behind the soft runners, as Peter does an 18 flat, which is a very, very good lap. But he is on the alternate strategy to these other guys, doing a 2-stop soft, medium, medium, I am guessing. But yeah, Peter's going to just try and pull away and try and get a pit stop gap over the guys who just put under the softs. I was going to say before the top 4 pit earlier that I wanted to see what J. Cole, Miami, and Bree could all do in clean air, but now that has completely gone into the bin as the rest of the soft runners have pit.
Yeah, that's gone into the bin, like you're saying. J. Cole managed to get back within DRS range of B Morgan. B Morgan had a little bit of a wobble coming out of turn 1, but it didn't put him under any pressure. J. Cole not able to use that 1 lap undercut to his advantage and get ahead of at least TDB or B Morgan, so they now run a net 2nd and 3rd in this race for the time being. J. Cole runs in 4th, and he's just ahead of Miami, who's just outside of DRS range in the Red Bull. You'll know just outside of DRS range of the Red Bull man in front as well, currently running 10th on the road. Obviously Peter on that alternate strategy, and we wait now for the top 4 to come into the pit lane, and this is now going to be very, very interesting for this race. Peter's going to be the first driver, one of these drivers to do so, but Harry Noir, actually Stumpy and YY are very, very close to each other on track, and Peter is going to catch these guys probably within the next 3 laps or so, and neither of these 2 drivers are going to be coming in anytime soon. So as I think Stumpy went a little bit wide into turn 1 actually, but YY wasn't able to capitalise on it. But Peter's going to catch these guys, and his race really now depends on how quickly he can get past these 2 drivers.
Yeah, he's going to want to dismiss of the Ferrari and the Alfa Romeo cars pretty quickly, as these 2 are starting to fight. So as you said, that 2 or 3 laps to close up could be within, maybe towards the end of this lap, maybe even at the very end of the 3rd sector, possibly even getting DRS.
Yeah, he's already 0.8 of a second faster than YY on this lap alone, so those fresh medium tyres doing him nicely. And Stumpy definitely really holding YY up here as Peter picks up his 2nd time penalty of the race. So while he's on this alternate strategy, he probably needs to have no penalties for this strategy to work, and he's already got 2 in this race, so that's really compromising him. But looking at his gap to TDB, he's already at least the 2nd faster than TDB on this lap as well, so these medium tyres working nicely for the AlphaTauri man. He's got to make a big advantage though, because from TDB all the way down to Bree, they're all pretty much within DRS range of each other, and that is a big queue of cars all on the same strategy.
Yeah, Peter's gonna have to try and push as hard as he can to get past these the 2 cars in front of him who are or have not pitted yet. Peter already making his first pit stop, as he does set fastest lap, going about a tenth faster than his previous fastest lap. So he's really pushing and trying to make the strategy work. I think he's on the wrong, or he's made the wrong choice in terms of strategy though. Why a little bit off the track there on the exit to turn 1. Maybe just barely getting pushed off by Stumpy. Why I think he's going to try and push past Stumpy here. Stumpy's mediums starting to go off, and Y's hards coming into their own.
Yeah, he's definitely the faster of the two people at this point. He tried to go for the outside line at turn 1 and actually did exactly what you said that happened. He got forced off the road there by Stumpy coming out the corner. So YY not able to get the run into turn 2. He has a look down the inside coming into turn 6, and he actually hits the back of the Alfa Romeo man coming into the corner. I don't know if YY has picked up any damage because of that. I think he's just about got away with it, but he did run into the back of the Alfa Romeo man. And now Peter is already on the back of these two drivers. He's 5 seconds clear of TDB, but he's got to get this move done as quickly as possible. He's going to get stuck big time if he doesn't make the move stick. Chill picks up his second time penalty of the race as well, so his alternate strategy not working at the moment with those penalties he's picking up. Peter's already lost half a second in the few corners he's been stuck behind these two, and oh my word, nearly runs clean into the back of YY through the penultimate corner. And the problem here down into turn 1 is that he has DRS on YY, but YY also has DRS on Stumpy in front, so we can't really get the move done unless either of these two make a mistake.
YY and Stumpy coming to blows the last 2 laps into turn 1. YY looking to the outside. He's gonna get partway alongside and then try and do the undercut on the exit of turn 1, which he's gonna do. He's gonna use the grip of those hard tires over the mediums, which sounds contradictory, but it really isn't at this point in the race. Peter not close enough to make any moves, having a little bit of oversteer through turn 2 in that dirty air of Stumpy and of YY, but YY finally dismissing of COS Stumpy on those mediums, and YY is going to try and close down Harry and Chill, who should be having the same effect on their medium tires.
Yeah, I'll have to wait and see if he can close that gap down. He's now 7.5 seconds behind Harry Nowak. He's really been held up behind Stumpy, who just doesn't have the pace on these medium tyres. And now Peter can try and get his move done on Stumpy, but he's lost loads of time to TDB. All that time he gained in the last few laps, setting fastest lap times, is eradicated really in the last lap and a half because of how much he's been held up here. So that's really going to cost him in this race. He needs to get past Stumpy as quickly as possible. Stumpy has already fallen out of DRS range, and YY has actually taken nearly a second out of Harry Nowak already on this lap since passing Stumpy. And oh my word, Peter goes for a move at the penultimate corner down the inside, and there's a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. That looked like a very desperate move from Peter. I don't even know if he wanted to go for the move. Stumpy was so early on the brakes, and he just about gets away with it, but trying to get the move done as early as possible nearly put him at risk of spinning the car. He's going to have a run down into turn 1. Can he get to the inside line? Stumpy defends the line into turn 1, so Peter's going to have to go all the way around the outside to get this move done, and Stumpy gets on the curb. They nearly hit each other, but Peter gets the up and under nicely coming out of turn 1 on those fresh medium tyres, and he's up into 4th place on the road, but that took him probably 2 laps too long.
Yeah, I don't even know if Peter wanted to do the undercut there on the exit of turn 1. COS Stumpy probably just locking up, trying not to hit him, but they did come very close to making contact. Stumpy defending to the inside of turn 1 the last 3 laps from YY and now Peter. And now Stumpy is probably going to have to come to the pits now and fit those hard tires to make it to the end of the race. He's really fallen off here.
Yeah, his medium tyres not working whatsoever. So that just goes to show the drop-off really in these medium tyres. The drop-off in these tyres seem to be pretty big, because as Chill picks up his 3rd penalty of this race already, it's really not working for him at the moment, because YY on his 11-lap old hard tyres is at least half a second a lap faster than Harry Nowak and Chill in front. So the medium tyres not quite working, and this bodes well for the likes of TDB and B Morgan, because their hard tyres are really going to come into their own, and they should level out in pace against Peter probably in the next few laps or so. TB is going to be coming up next to pass Stumpy. He's not within DRS range as of yet, but he should be on the next lap, so he is going to try and get past Stumpy as quickly as possible, and maybe trying to get past Stumpy as quickly as possible before he comes in could give him enough of a gap back to B Morgan to break DRS.
Yeah, but I'm going to have to make a comment now on the top 4 pitting. Right now, if Chill was about to pit, he'd have to come out probably just about a second behind Bree, as T. Jonas has retired into the pit lane. Not making much of an impact on this race is that retirement, but yeah, Chill going to come out right behind Bree. The pit stop here loses you about 19 seconds, and Bree is 17, if not 18 seconds behind the current race leader. So yeah, Chill's going to have to make up a lot of time, and he has to go through the entire field if he wants to score good points tonight.
Yeah, he's going to have to hope that the tyres he's on has a big pace advantage at the end. Meanwhile, Yorno's made his way past Miami with a brilliant move down the inside of turn 2 and round the outside of turn 3. Yorno managed to pull the move off. They were very close to touching, but they got away with it. Miami, once again, good qualifying pace, but the race pace isn't quite there for him today. He's dropping back more than he's working his way forwards. But that now means after starting second on the grid, Yorno and J. Cole and Yorno second and 10th on the grid respectively. Now two cars next to each other on the track, so J. Cole's fallen backwards in this race, and Yorno's worked his way through nicely around Budapest, considering it's a track you can't overtake at. He's worked his way through nicely, and Yorno, his race pace, he could actually maybe work his way past J. Cole soon, as TDB's trying to go all the way around the outside of Stumpy at turn 1, and he's managed to pull the move off. So as soon as he got there, he made the move stick immediately, and that means as well that B. Morgan's not going to be close enough for a move at turn 2. Can he maybe get a move done into turn 4, or depends on the run through 3 for him? He's very, very close to the back of him. He's on the overtake.
Yeah, he's going to go for it.
He's going to have to go to the inside line.
Yeah,
Stumpy
using his overtake, a little bit of contact there. They're going to have to give each other space. Stumpy trying to keep it around the outside. I think that... J. Cole's at the inside. He's touched the curb. But he's saved down.
He loses the car.
Yeah.
Oh, my word. Jake,
yeah,
that was just too late of a move down the inside of turn 5. He went for a move down the inside, thought there was a gap, touched the curb on the inside, overcorrected, and slid into the side of Stumpy. And J. Cole, from what could have been the championship lead for J. Cole, he now drops to plumb last.
Yeah, I think J. Cole, or I thought B. Morgan's move on Stumpy was daring, but J. Cole just sending it up the inside of turn 5 on the inside. The inside there is always... Oh! B. Morgan touched the entry curb.
Oh, so two of our top 3 potential drivers in this race have spun on the same lap. B. Morgan, from what could have been a comfortable second place in this race, maybe a battle for the win, has spun on his own in the final sector as well. So 2 possible race-winning contenders in this one have dropped it on the same lap.
Yeah, TDB is going to be absolutely elated now. He's going to be so happy. He's going to be on for a net race win here. Net race lead here with the 3.5 second to Yorno. Yorno, the championship leader, just having all of his championship rivals in this Grand Prix just absolutely drop it.
Yeah, they're all really pretty much moving out the way for him, aren't they, at the moment? He started 10th in this race, and Yorno at the moment is on for a net second place in this one. And we now know that Yorno has free air, and he is already closing in on TDB, so it's not out of the question that Yorno could win this race from 10th on the grid, and that would be some feat. We've not had really any safety cars that have impacted this race, so it's not like it's been a crazy race that has meant the order's been truncated. He's just worked his way through methodically and really, really well, so he's now up into 6th place on the road. Net 3rd place, obviously, with Peter still in the net race lead, but he's yet to make another pit stop in this race. He's now on the back of YHYY. YHYY continues to close in on Harry Nawag. Those medium tyres for the top 2 not quite working, it seems, at the moment, but they're staying out on the track for the time being. They are still going, but Harry Nawag has absolutely no ERS at all. Chill has very little as well, and Chill has 3. I think both of them actually have 3 time penalties in this race already, so this alternate strategy for Chill and Harry Nawag, unless there's a late safety car, I don't think it's quite going to work for them.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Peter's getting to about the point where the mediums start to lose their pace and their grip, maybe starting to overheat. Maybe that process is being helped along by YHYY and Peter being stuck in the dirty air of him, as TDB is 3.5 seconds behind. But Yorno on the last lap, in I think only the last sector, caught a 4 tenths, now even 5 tenths through the first sector of this lap on TDB.
Yeah, he's got really, really good pace, and you know what? He's dragging Miami and JSD with him. JSD has been following Yorno really through the field in this race the whole time. He hasn't been able to work his way past Miami, but JSD has just been sat behind Yorno, and when Yorno goes for a move, JSD makes the move stick as well. So he's working his way through methodically. This now puts Bree as well up into a net 5th place. So after a poor start to the race, Bree is once again, like I said at the start of the stream, he's just kind of sat back and assessed the situation, kept it clean, not gone for any stupid battles or any risky moves, and he's sat nicely and kept it clean, and he's now in a net 5th place in this race as Chill, our race leader, finally comes into the pit lane at the end of lap 16. Harry Nawag continues on, so he's going to stay out on those medium tyres. Chill then is going to come in for a set of probably hard tyres. You can't get the softs at the end of the race from here. It is a set of hard tyres. His hard tyres will be 8 laps younger, at least 8 laps younger than everyone around him, but I just don't think that these hard tyres are going to have that much of a pace advantage to make any difference in this race.
Yeah, the hard tires are very consistent, so the guys who pitted earlier around lap 7 or 8 are going to have about the same lap times as Chill, and Chill also having a very, very big disadvantage with 3 time penalties, so he's going to have to create a 9-second gap to anyone that he overtakes in the following laps.
Yeah, that's going to be really, really difficult for him as Peter picks up another time penalty as She's really fallen by the wayside. It's not working for him at the moment. He's stuck behind White Y as well. He can't get the move done. Chill's first target is B Morgan, 2.5 seconds up the road, so we'll keep an eye on that gap. B Morgan is stuck a little bit behind Bree as well, and Bree's not within DRS range of JSD at the moment. Yorno continuing to close in, but on that lap previous, it was only 0.2 of a second faster. So TDB at the moment doing enough to just manage the gap, and I think at the moment, because he's out on his own, he obviously doesn't need to defend, so he can just focus on his own race. He can save a bit of ERS, save his tyres, and this could actually be TDB's. I don't want to call it too early, and commentator's cursing, but I think TDB could be on for 2 race wins in a row.
Yeah, but as I said, that J. Cole placed over penalty, but as I said, the hards are massively consistent. Chill is already within 1.5 seconds of B Morgan. B Morgan starting to fall off the back of Bree. Bree closing in on JSD very, very slowly as Peter has gotten past YYY into turn 1. YYY trying to fight it back, though. Peter's going to have the better grip on the exit of turn 1 and get that move done now. He's going to try and chase down Harry Noir. Peter having a 6-lap tire advantage there in about a 4-second gap of clean air. But back to Chill. Chill is already down to 1.3 seconds. He closed it down by almost a second on that outlap.
Wow, so despite them being on the same compound of tyres, it's actually worked out quite nicely for Chill. He's got some good pace in the car, so let's wait and see what he can do. It's a shame he's got those penalties, because without that, he could have been a real threat for a podium in this race with the pace he's showing. Just based on where Peter is on the road, he's probably going to be trying to catch Harry Nawag in the next few laps or so, but Peter's probably going to come in maybe for another set of softs, maybe another set of mediums in the next couple laps or so. I probably imagine he'll stay out to probably maybe around lap 30, about a lap 25 and come in for another set of soft tyres. But where he is relative to where Chill was, he'll come out behind J. Cole when Peter pits, so he's going to be way off the back of this queue of cars, so he's going to have to hope for maybe a safety car or for a massive pace advantage for this strategy to work. Keeping an eye on that gap between TDB and Yorno. Yorno's really pushed on this lap. It's down to 2.2 seconds.
Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say, but yeah, Peter, looking to Peter, going through turn 1, just finishing lap 18. Peter has closed down the gap by about 0.4 on that lap. So Peter, with his tire advantage in those mediums, starting to go off just a little bit, closing down on Harry. Harry might be looking to do a medium soft strategy here, which I didn't think was ever going to be possible.
Yeah, that would be a bold move if he can pull that one off. He's got to go to, I'd say, at least at 25 to make that work, because the soft tyres, we saw everyone coming into at the latest lap 8, so they were really overheating. So probably he can do about 10 laps on the soft tyres, unless probably only about 10 laps before they really fall apart. Chill with another penalty. He's now within DRS range of B Morgan and Bree, but another penalty that's put him on 4. Well, I believe both B Morgan and Bree are free of penalties in this race, so massive disadvantage for him. He's going to actually drop behind J. Cole at this point in the race as well, with the amount of penalties he has. So it's just not working out for Chill, unfortunately. Oh, and he loses the car there coming out of turn 9. Just about holds onto it. He was half in the grass, but all that time he gained on the drivers in front has been lost with that small mistake, and he's back outside of DRS range as well. So while he's got good pace, he's struggling to keep the car on the road in the dirty air. He's got a yellow flag in sector 2. Ooh. Yeah, it's spun out of turn 5. I wonder if that brings out any sort of safety car. It does.
Oh, safety car.
Wow, full safety car. So who's coming into the pit?
B Morgan and Chill.
Yeah, I wonder if J. Cole's going to come into the pit lane as well. He's last in the field. He may as well come in. He is. He's going to slow down as well. He's going to try and null the effects.
They're probably going to go on the mediums here, try and go to the end. I know those mediums are going to probably fall off towards the end, but the safety car didn't pick up the leaders, so they're going to be able to get a free pit stop on the guys who just pit, B Morgan, Chill, and J. Cole, the guys who have pit, and they are going on to medium tires. So yeah, this the guys who weren't able to pit when the safety car came out, really lucky that Harry was far enough in front to beat that safety car.
Yeah, that is really, really crucial for the likes of TDB and Yorno, but this has closed up the pack massively. Now it's a question of who comes into the pit lane. Harry and White obviously have to come into the pits. They've not made their stop as of yet. Harry is probably going to have to put the soft tyres on here, because the hards will have such a pace disadvantage to the fresh mediums that it probably won't work, and he might not be able to get the softs to the end unless he's very cautious behind the safety car, and the safety car stays out for at least maybe another 3 laps or so. So we'll see him in, we'll see White in, we'll see Peter in as well. It's all a question of whether TDB thinks it's a good idea to come into the pit lane. If he comes into the pit lane, though, it's probably a good idea for the likes of Yorno and Miami to stay out, because they'll have track position. If you were in this situation, though, would you pit or would you stay out?
I think I would have to pit on the mediums. Those hard tires are good, and they're pretty consistent towards the later stages of the race, but they're nothing compared to a good set of fresh medium tires, as shown by Peter on YHYY a few laps earlier.
Yeah, and everyone's actually coming to the pit lane. No one has stayed. One's coming in for that fresh set of medium tyres, and this has changed the dynamic of this race massively, because now Peter, while Harry Nowag and Peter both have time penalties they have to contest with in this one, they are now in the net race lead here, so Harry Nowag and Peter can try and pull away. YHYY has no penalties in this race. He started this race with the slowest qualifying time, 13th on the grid, was stuck behind Stumpy for the opening, 14 laps of this race before he was able to get a move done. He is now technically, with Peter and Harry Nawag's penalties, YHYY is now the net race leader.
Yeah, but this is going to be absolutely dreadful with for Harry. Harry with 3, maybe even 4 penalties, and on those soft tires, which probably will get a puncture before even making it to lap 33. So yeah, and also Peter, as you mentioned, with penalties. I think there are a few other drivers with penalties. I think the Morgan has 4. And Chill has 1 or 2, and then J. Cole, I believe, also has 1 or 2, both of those points, struggling with track limits in Hungary.
Yeah, that's going to be one thing to look out for, the penalties at the end of this race. I believe YHYY, TDB, you all know Miami, JSD, and Bree are all clean in this race in terms of penalties. So, and I think they are the only ones on track without penalties. So, have to keep an eye on whether any of these drivers do pit ones up themselves. That's going to be massively costing this one, because they're now all in a queue of cars. J. Cole at the back of the queue hasn't caught the queue of cars yet, but he's right on the back of it. So you know what? We might get racing at the end of this lap if J. Cole can get to the back of the queue in time. They've passed that sector 3 split, but we have seen the safety car go in later than that on previous ones, and you know what, the safety car is coming in this lap, so J. Cole able to get to the back of the queue in time, and the safety car's coming in now. Disaster for Harry Nowag, who was hoping the safety car would stay out for at least another couple laps so he could take these softs to the end of the race. He will have a big pace advantage in the opening laps, but taking these soft tyres to the end of the race is going to be a massive order for Harry Nowag. I'll be amazed if he pulls it off. Hats off to him if he does. He's going to lead everyone back though to the green flag, coming on to lap 22 of this race. 14 laps to go here at Hungary. It's been a thrilling race so far, and Peter has had a brilliant restart behind Harry Nowag. He's not been caught napping. YHYY has, and he's a little bit under pressure from TDB. Peter already going for the move into turn 1. Looks down the inside. He's very, very late on the brakes. Takes an early turn into the corner. Harry Nowag trying to get the up and under down the inside, coming down towards turn 2. But Peter again, really, really good run coming out the corner. Has the inside line for turn 2. But we've seen moves round the outside of turn 2 and into turn 3. Peter tries to force Harry wide. Harry can't get the momentum through turn 3. Brilliant move from Peter. He read that safety car brilliantly, and he's passed Harry Nowag into the race lead. YHYY stays in 3rd ahead of TDB 4th. Giorno tried to move at turn 4 but wasn't close enough. He stays in 5th. The rest of the order is the same behind that, but Peter, brilliant stuff from him, and he's put himself in a good position here to try and pull the gap. Even with the penalties, he's going to now try and pull a gap on everyone behind, with Harry Nowag being the head of the queue on those soft tyres that won't make it to the end of the race.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that Harry Nowag is going to act as a Kimi Räikkönen-esque in Monza after that red flag restart. So he's just going to try and stay with Peter, but Peter, I'm sure, is going to pull away in the next 2 to 3 laps with those soft tires dying away very, very quickly. So YHYY and TDB and Yorno are all going to have to try to barge their way past the Alfa Romeo of Harry in 2nd place.
Yeah, they're really going to have to do that as quickly as possible. Peter, it looks like, has had the best raw speed out of everyone on this track so far. He obviously qualified on pole. He's had good speed so far, but the alternate strategy might not work. Well, it could have worked for him now with his safety car, but he's got a lot of penalties to contend with, so you have to keep an eye on that one in this race. Can he pull enough of a gap for those penalties not to mean anything? Harry Nowag staying within DRS range for the time being, but remember, he's on the soft tyres that have to make it to the end of the race for his strategy to work, and that front left tyre is very easily going to overheat around this track, especially now that it's no longer overcast. The track temperatures are going to be much higher. JSD a little bit wide in the background. Bree having a look at the back of him, but not quite close enough. JSD now picks up a time penalty as well, so he's the first of those 6 drivers to pick up that time penalty. So he's going to drop behind Bree at this point in the race, but only Bree, because everyone else behind Bree, I believe, has a penalty. B. Morgan also looking very racy, trying to make up for that early spin. J. Cole currently in 11th, not able to work his way forwards in the racing point. Only on for 2 points in this race, whilst Yorno at the moment currently 5th with no penalties. He runs a little bit wide there through 11, but doesn't get a penalty, as now Bree gets his penalty as well. So
that's
both
something you don't see very often.
Yeah, you don't see that very often from Bree. So the same lap that JSD picks up a penalty and Bree has an advantage, the advantage disappears and he picks one up himself as well. So Bree now stuck in 8th place is going to have to make the move on JSD on track to get that one done. Having a look further up again, Peter sets another fastest lap of the race, a 17 flat. He's incredibly fast around this track. Absolutely loving the Hungary ring, but he's not quite broken DRS as of yet. DRS, though, the detection point is before the last corner, so he's got another lap to do so, to try and break it, and he has broken it through turn 1 already. So let's see if he can continue that speed throughout the lap and try and break it fully by the time they get to the DRS detection point. Heinrich 1 second ahead of YHYY third. The one problem here for TDB is that while YHYY in front of him has no penalties, YHYY around here seems to have really struggled for outright speed, but he's now in the DRS range of Harry Nawag, so he can use the DRS to defend from TDB, but we don't necessarily know if YHYY has the raw speed to get past Harry Nawag.
Yeah, Harry is going to act as a bit of a bus here in front of the entire rest of the field, as Chill picked up another penalty down in P10. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what TDB and YHYY can do to get past Harry. This race is starting to resemble one such D3 race last season at Hungary, with a late safety car and everybody being bunched up.
Yeah, it's really starting to resemble it. Like you say, it is almost an identical situation to what we had last season, but this is going to be a great, fascinating end to this race. Peter, 1.6 seconds clear, so he's managed to break DRS quite nicely now, so he will continue to pull away. And another fastest lap for Peter, a 17 flat is absolutely fine. YHYY, though, brilliant run out the final corner. He's going to go for the move on Harry Nawag down into turn 1. Harry Nawag decides not to defend the move. He's going to try and go for the up and under on the exit of the corner, but he has too much understeer midway through the corner, can't get to the inside line. So YHYY, well, I was just talking about him maybe not having the raw speed to get past. At the first time of asking, he's through, and he's got a car now between himself and TDB. This is prime opportunity for YHYY to gap the rest of the queue behind and try and take his first win of the season, as Peter picks up another penalty.
Ooh, Harry wide.
Ooh,
yeah, Harry running really wide through turn 4, almost not getting on that curve on the inside of turn 5. But yeah, that's going to give TDB a free pass. He's not going to have to struggle with Harry to get that P3, as TDB is making a little bit of a mistake through turn 6 and 7 in the chicane. But yeah, TDB's got a free pass to go by the Alfa Romeo. Now he's going to have to try and catch YHYY, who has already almost pulled out a second gap to the Williams.
Yeah, that just goes to show that Harry's already struggling on these soft tyres. He's being swamped by the pack a little bit here. TDB is desperate to try and keep within DRS range of YHYY on this lap so that he can close back in on the Ferrari man. Peter, at this point in the race, not doing enough to pull away from the rest of the field. TDB is just going to have DRS on YHYY. Harry Nawag will have DRS on the Williams man as well. So Jorno is the next man lined up to try and get a move done. Can he try and get his way through as well and battle YHYY and TDB for the race win? He's on for a podium at the moment, it seems, just based on penalties and the pace of Harry Nawag. But we'll have to wait and see if he can get that move done. JSD trying to get a move done on Miami in the background as well, but not close enough. Everyone, that's the problem with Budapest, is everyone's very, very close and evenly matched, but you really have to wait for a mistake, or to have you really have to have either a massive pace advantage, or you need to wait for a mistake from someone to make a move stick.
Yeah, most definitely, as we that was shown with TDB last lap going through turn 5, as I was on board with Harry. Harry not making the same mistake he did last lap, but Jorno's going to be absolutely loving this in terms of the championship battle. J. Cole, his main championship rival, down in 11th, only scoring 2 points as of now. Jorno up in 5th place, scoring 10. He's going to be upping his championship lead to about 11 points, if my math is correct, which most times it definitely isn't. But yeah, Harry getting on the grass though, through on the apex of turn 11. Jorno's gonna send it up the inside of turn 12, going a little bit deep. Oh!
And he spun the car, almost identical to what happened to J. Cole, just as we were talking about Jorno moving up in the championship, moving away from J. Cole. He goes for an audacious move at turn 12. Harry Nawag left him just enough space, but Jorno was just too deep on the brakes, and he drops from what could have been a podium, and he's now down to 11th place, and J. Cole now has the advantage on him. Both championship challengers in this race have fallen by the wayside.
Yeah, we also have to mention Old School, who was third in the championship, was out on lap 2 or 3 of this race. So the top 3 in the championship not going to be scoring many points. Old School, none at all. But yeah, a little bit of a commentator's curse there. And that look, Jorno seems to be prone to those types of mistakes, going for audacious moves into non-really overtaking spots and just trying to move up the field, maybe getting a little bit frustrated behind Harry. Harry on those soft tires I'm sure are already dead. But yeah, Jorno, as I mentioned, seems to be prone to those types of mistakes, as I saw in Canada.
Yeah, he's done that quite a lot this season. We say Jorno, he's actually, I'd say he's done very well to be in the Championship League, because a lot of times this season he's had to work his way through from the back of the field after a mistake, and he's pulled it off, especially in the first 3 rounds of the season. He was running plumb last, I think, at both on all 3 occasions in that race, and managed to work his way back to the top, to the podium places in all 3 of those races. So he's been prone to those mistakes, but Budapest, with the pack so close to the field, as close as it is on pace here, that's not going to be easy for Jorno to pull off unless some sort of chaos happens in front. But at the moment, it now seems like it's a pure battle for the race win between YHYY and TDB. They're separated by half a second coming down towards turn 1. YHYY has just enough pace as Jorno sets the fastest lap of the race. The lap after is spin, so he's got good pace. Miami down the inside of Harry Noir, but Harry Noir trying to get back up the inside on the exit of the corner. Just doesn't have the grip to pull it off though. So Miami now up into a net podium place with Peter's penalties. Miami could steal his first podium of the season here.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I think you said that Miami could be on for his first podium of the season.
Sorry to jump in there. Chill really wide through turn 3. He nearly drove into the side of his teammates. So J. Cole now up another place. Chill makes a mistake. J. Cole up into 9th place.
Yeah, but back to what we were talking about before. It kicked off with the 2 racing points. B. Morgan actually locking up a little bit into turn 6. But yeah, as you mentioned, Miami on for his first podium here tonight. Harry really falling. He's going to start his slow descent backwards through the field.
Yeah, at this point in the race, I won't be surprised if Harry ends up this one in P11. He's just losing pace, and we're still got 7 laps to go in this race when we cross the line, so he's really going to struggle. JSD is next up to pass him in the Mercedes, and look how much he's lost to Miami in a lap alone. In 1 lap, he's now 1.3 seconds behind, so he's already lost DRS range to Miami in front. He's got JSD, Bree, B. Morgan, J. Cole, Chill, and now Jorno all back within DRS range of the drivers in front, so he's got a whole queue of cars forming. Here comes JSD down towards turn 1. Harry Noir knows he just doesn't have the grip to fight it. Harry Noir very late on the brakes into turn 1, trying to drive his way around the outside, but he will end up on the curb, but he will have the inside line for turn 2, so this time it might have worked for Harry Noir, but JSD has more ERS in use down towards turn 2 and is able to get the move done on the brakes. Can Bree try and work his way through quickly as well? We know Bree's not a very aggressive driver. He likes to keep it nice and clean, so it doesn't look like he's going to go for the move into turn 4. He'll stick behind for the time being, but that will put him under pressure. But B. Morgan, who tried to go for a move at turn 4 and had so much more speed, and it caught him out. It was so much faster through turn 4. He just drove almost clean into the back of Bree and spun the car in avoidance. What could have been a possible race victory for B. Morgan today has ended up with damaged front wing and 11th place.
Yeah, at least he'll still be getting a little bit out of it. I know he started P4, really hoping for even a podium, maybe even a race win here, as you mentioned. But now he's going to be picking up 12 points towards the end of this Grand Prix.
That is such a shame for B. Morgan. He's shown such good pace here, and he showed such good pace last time out in Silverstone as well. It's just not gone his way so far this season. He's had good opportunities, and for some other reason, if it's in his hands or not, they've all fallen away from him. He will probably get his first win in the season at some point. He's had the race-winning pace throughout the entire season so far. It's just not come together for him. But that moves now Jacob up into 8th place, slowly working his way forwards here as Bree works his way around the outside of Harry Noir into turn 1. Oh my word, Jacob nearly ran straight into the back of Harry Noir in the braking. He's only had so much more pace. Is he going to try and go for a move down towards turn 2? I wonder. He's going to look to the inside line. Harry Noir knows he's there. He's going to leave in the space. Jacob now up into 7th place. So one might not be able to make the moves on track apart from Harry Noir. Everyone else's mistakes, Jacob's capitalising on them now, and he's up into 7th place while the championship leader's down in 10th.
Yeah, he could have capitalized even more if he did not have that earlier spin earlier in the race. With Jorno now, as we saw, making mistakes, still having a little bit of oversteer through turn 5. J. Cole having a massive lockup though into turn 6, just ruining his tires, stuck behind the entire train. But yeah, with Harry Noir following through the field, has really separated the field. We're making a little bit, going a little bit off track there at turn 9. But yeah, this is completely separated out the field. It's actually YYY is on the back of Peter now.
Yeah, so Jorno's going for another move at turn 12, this time down the inside of Chill. He's further alongside this time. Chill not giving that move up though. He'll have the inside line for turn 13, and now if it's a long corner, Jorno's going to have to try and hold it around the outside. Can't get the move done though. Again, trying those audacious moves. I guess at this point in the race, Jorno's got nothing to lose. He did beforehand. He was on the battle for the podium. Now he can only really lose a place to B. Morgan, so he's going to at least try and go for it. Chill now works his way past Harry Noir, and Jorno's going to maybe try and get the pair of them down into turn 1. Late on the brakes, but Chill even later on the brakes on the inside. Yorno trying to get the better run out the corner. There's still wheel banging coming out the corner. Chill gets the better run. Yorno now darts to the inside line. Is he late enough on the brakes into the corner? He has the inside line. Chill tries to squeeze him onto the curb. Who's going to get the better run through turn 3? They leave each other just enough room. Oh, Chill slides into the side of the McLaren man, but Yorno, for the second time in this race, works his way round the outside of a driver through turn 3 and is able to work his way up into 8th place. So while J. Cole was making the moves, Yorno knew he had to make the moves himself to keep the championship lead, and he passes 2 people in the space of 2 corners.
Yeah, I was going to mention going into turn 1, it looks like a little bit of Schumacher and Hakkinen in Belgium. Just a little bit more prolonged and a little bit more wheel banging. Schill picks up, I believe, his 4th or 5th penalty at the Hungaroring, and almost extending there on the exit of turn 11 going into the 3rd sector. But I do want to point out that we do have a little bit of a battle for the lead here. I know it's just over half a second all the gas for these top 3, and Peter weaving to break that DRS. But yeah, this battle for the lead should be pretty interesting into the last 3 or 4 laps of this race.
Yeah, this could be very, very exciting. YHYY at the moment doing just enough to hold on against TDB. YHYY, whilst not being able to qualify well around Budapest, has somehow worked his way into a race-winning position. And this is the highest he's been so far this season. And he's really struggled for pace. Former Division 2 driver last season, a race winner in Division 2 last season in Russia. He unfortunately just hasn't had the pace this season. This game just doesn't seem to be quite suited to him. But this is his best opportunity for a race win so far. And at this point in the race, TDB the only one that can take it away from him. We were talking earlier on about the top 3 not scoring very many points. Top 4 actually, because Caesar's not here, so he is not able to capitalise on these mistakes and the other drivers around him either. And TDB is now 5th in the championship, so TDB is going to be the person with the net amount of gains, the most amount of gains in this one. Currently running in a net P2 with everyone's penalties around him, as B Morgan is a 16.1 for the fastest lap of the race. That's a brilliant lap time from B Morgan. But now it's definitely a battle between YHYY and TDB for the win, but I think YHYY at this point in the race, with 3 laps to go when we cross the line, he's doing just enough to hold on to this one.
Yeah, he's going to try and stay as far back from Peter as he can to negate the effect of that dirty air, but then also trying to keep DRS to keep TDB behind. TDB has almost no ERS. YHYY on abundance compared to TDB in terms of ERS. Peter just towing along YHYY to his first race win and first podium, actually, of the season.
Yeah, that would be some sort of feat for YHYY to pull this one off from 13th on the grid. That would be a brilliant result from the Ferrari man. And TDB! He's dropped the car coming out of turn 2, an easy podium for TDB, and a massive gain in the championship, and he's hit the wall all on his own. He's lost an end plate of his front wing, and that is a massive, massive shot from TDB, who's looked so comfortable all race long. He looked like he would have been the race winner in this one without this safety car, and he drops the car on his own with 3 laps to go.
Yeah, YHYY has surely secured this race win unless the nerves get to him, and he makes a similar mistake to TDB, maybe even losing an end plate, maybe even a wheel, and losing him all chance of points in this race. But yeah, TDB just making a slight mistake, and it costs you here at Hungary, as you said in the pre-race, well, I guess pre-race show, if we're going to call it that Hungary is Monaco without the barriers.
It is Monaco without the barriers, but somehow a lot of people still ended up in the barriers without the barriers being there. So a lot of people in great positions have thrown away good results here. Yorno, J. Cole, Chill, Peter, TDB. As Miami now goes down the inside on TDB. TDB has nothing to defend with. No ERS. He's got no grip on those front tyres either. So Miami, all of a sudden, from running probably in around a net 6th or 7th, has worked his way up into a 2nd place finish. We're going to have 2 first-time podium sitters here. And JSD at the moment is doing enough for his first podium of the season as well. So this he's obviously got 1 penalty, but Bree's got a penalty as well, and J. Cole isn't close enough just yet to capitalise on pass. Actually, sorry, J. Cole's got a penalty as well, so it'd be Yorno would be the only one able to capitalise on JSD's penalties, and he's not close enough. So for the first, with this season in the Hungaroring, what could have been a fairly easy race victory from TDB is then we're going to end up with 3 first-time podium finishers.
Yeah, it could be a pretty convincing race win from any of the championship contenders, including TDB in that, as well as J. Cole and B Morgan. I know B Morgan isn't that far up there in the championship standings. He's around P7 right now before the final results of this race. But as we do have Peter going through the last corner on the 2nd to last lap, lap 34, now exiting the last corner on 17% ERS. YHYY, I don't know if he's going to go for a move. I hope he knows about Peter's penalties, because we sure do.
Yeah, we definitely do. And White White doesn't need to make the move on track. He doesn't need to go for this one. He can just sit back and relax and just cruise to a victory here. JSD going for a move on TDB down the outside of turn 1. Can he pull that one off? Front wing damage for TDB. He's going to understeer into the side of JSD. JSD really being held up, and this is going to cost JSD here a podium at the moment. Yorno's just back within that 3-second window. He goes for a move down the inside of turn 2. Very late move. He nearly runs into the side of TDB. Still can't get the move done, but he's going to get a great run through turn 3. He'll have the inside line for turn 4. Can he pull that one off? He's fully ahead going into turn 4. TDB has to back out the move, but he's trying to get the up and under for turn 5. Round the outside with front wind damage, but he just doesn't have the front end grip to pull the move off. JSD finally gets past TDB and up into 4th place on the road, but it took him too long, and that now means that unless he can do a stellar end to the lap, Yorno's within penalty range of all of the drivers in front, apart from, actually I think even TDB doesn't have a penalty in this one unless he picks one up, so TDB actually, even with the front wind damage, might actually steal this podium back from JSD here.
Yeah, I hope TDB, I don't think TDB has been close enough to Bree to check his penalty, but Bree does have one penalty, which is very rare for the man in the Renault. So TDB should be on for his 2nd or 3rd podium of the race. As I just got an invite, but yeah, Peter has crossed the line first on track, but YYY is going to take his first podium and his first win of the season. Miami finishing in 2nd place, from once a D4 driver to now a podium sitter, a 2nd place sitter in the D3 race, as TDB taking his 2nd podium of the season as well behind those two.
That was an absolutely stellar race, and White wins the race then on penalties. But what a brilliant race from White. Harry Noir sets the fastest lap of the race on the last lap of 15.8. Great lap from him. Miami then 2nd, top 2, first time on the podium for both of them, and it's the first win of the season as well for White. TDB somehow, with that damage and that spin at the end of the race, still ended up on the podium despite the damage. So I mean, congrats to him for that one, but he kind of threw away a possible win in this one. This could have been a race victory for TDB, could have been his 2nd race victory in a row. It ends up only being a 3rd place in the end for him, but he does gain on pretty much everyone around him in the championship. Yorno, despite a late spin in that one, despite spinning out of a possible podium contention, because he didn't pick up a penalty and he caught the queue of cars back so quickly, he ended up that race in 4th place and ahead of J. Cole. So Yorno, in the end, continues to extend his championship lead. Yeah,
if you delete Azerbaijan and Canada, Yorno was on a really good form right now, having a 2nd in Spain and then a win in Austria and then 2 4th places in a row to kick off the 2nd part of his season.
Yeah, it's gone so well for Yorno recently, and even with bad days like this, he's managed to still pull away in the championship. So YHYY, great stuff from him, from 13th on the grid. Like I said, who says you can't overtake at Hungary? We were expecting a boring race from a lot of these people and expecting some people to finish where they started, but YHYY's slowest qualifying in the end ends up winning the race. Brilliant stuff from him. Miami, also a first-time podium sitter, in 2nd place in the Red Bull. TDB, what could have been a race victory for him, that late mistake from him drops him to 3rd place. What a shame. He'll be gutted to miss out on a race victory today. Yorno ends up in 4th place despite a late race spin. Bree in 5th, once again avoiding all the carnage around him, and despite a bad first lap, picking up solid points with a 5th place finish. J. Cole only 6th after an audacious move at turn 5. Didn't go his way. He spun out of race winning contention as well. Peter, in the end, with all the carnage happening behind him, even with the amount of penalties he had 4 penalties in the end, ended up in 7th ahead of JSD, who drops to 8th with his penalties. Chill in 9th ahead of Harry Nawag in 10th. B. Morgan, the last finisher, in 11th. Some Peter Jonas, Savage and Old School all could not finish the race in the end. So that was, I think, probably one of the better races of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I only have one race, and now this one in Hungary to base off. But yeah, Hungary was pretty exciting throughout, except for maybe part of that first stint. But the safety car really spiced things up.
Yeah, I think even with a track that you can't really overtake at, I think because it's a track you can't overtake at very well, it puts people in a different mindset and they deliver better races, and that was an absolutely brilliant race. Before we finish off the stream today, though, and you get ready for your Division 2 race, who are you going to give Driver of the Day to today, Packer?
Well, I'm gonna have to agree with the game. The one time I do agree with the game, and give it to YYY, coming from 13th in the last the last person to set a lap time to go on to race win and have his first pretty good result of the season.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree with you on that one as well. I think Miami is a close second, definitely, with Driver of the Day. He worked his way through brilliantly, but I think YHYY, he struggled, obviously, to get past Stumpy, and I mean, you do create your. He obviously did get a little bit lucky with that safety car, but you create your own luck, and he got into that position. And for a man who qualified nearly a second off pole position in time, he showed great pace on those medium tyres at the end of the race and was able to win the race on pure pace at the end of the day. So great stuff from Watch at the end of that one, and that is where we're going to round off today's stream, guys. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in to round 10 of the season. Tune in about 10 minutes' time for the start of Division 2 and Division 5, I believe, happen. I forget which divisions happen at which time, but I believe it's Division 2 and 5 next up in 10 minutes' time on the League of Europe channel. Good luck to Packer for his race around Budapest. I know you're not particularly looking forward to it, but I'm sure if you get a race...
It's going to be our dismal race.
I mean, if you get anything like this, you never know what can happen. We just saw that White qualified 13th and won the race, so you never know what's going to happen at Budapest. So good luck to you in that race, and we'll see you again this time next week for round 11 of the championship at Belgium, another completely different circuit and one of the best racing circuits on the calendar. But from myself and Packer, it is thank you very much for tuning in, and goodbye.
Yep.